Now I want to introduce our folks that are joining us tonight. And I would like to mention this is a release party for Ensemble McNawooj's new album, Death Become Life, and premiere of 5 music films documenting the recording sessions for the album, including dance footage filmed at the Asian Art Museum and other various Bay Area locales. This is presented tonight, co-presented with Yerba Buena Garden Festival, who commissioned 3 of the pieces. And we love partnering with Yerba Buena Garden Festival. They are really an important Bay Area cultural institution. So let's see, is everybody? Yeah, everybody's on. So I'd like to introduce them. So we have Joanne Kim, composer and pianist Joanne Kim, began his formal training in composition at Berklee College of Music in Boston. He graduated summa cum laude with a bachelor's in music in composition, and he continued his education in composition at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, from which he received a master's of music. After a successful performance of a novelty piece which featured an MC and chamber music ensemble while completing his master's degree at the Conservatory of Music, Joanne had a profound shift in the direction of his writing. He felt that he found a way out of the stifling contemporary concert music aesthetic in his new way of composition. Joanne crystallized his ideas into something he calls method sampling. You'll hear more about it. A principle borrowing or sampling of rationales from related as well as unrelated fields, then reframing them into one's own system. In 2010, Joanne recruited his best friend from college, who you'll meet tonight, Christopher Nicholas, who is now Ensemble McNawooj's executive director, and they pushed the project forward in a very serious way. Since then, his musical laboratory has attracted some of the most excellent classical musicians and MCs in the Bay Area and abroad, while gaining national attention from nationally renowned outlets. And Joanne is represented by Opus 3 artists. Christopher Nicholas, there's Christopher, received a dual Bachelor's of Music in Songwriting and Vocal Performance from Berklee College of Music and a Master's of Music in Jazz Studies from the University of North Texas. After joining Joanne in 2010 to co-found and run Ensemble McNawooj, they've had numerous features, collaborations, and commissions nationally and internationally, and there's no stopping them now. Sandman, our MC Sandman, prior to releasing a solo album entitled The Art of Dreaming, Sandman was cultivated as an MC during his involvement with the dynamic hip hop group, The Attic. His association with the group began as a teen and eventually blossomed into something formal. In 2005, the group, I'm sorry, he began as a teen, but he wasn't a teen then. So in 2005, the group released the album Jungle Electric. Sandman has shared a stage with KRS-One, Dead Prez, E40, and Zion I, and many more. A veteran of performing, he has rocked stages around the country and shined at legendary venues in front of sold-out crowds. Sandman joined Ensemble McNawooj in 2013. And now I'm going to turn it over to Marcelo Aviles, Director of Programming for Yerba Buena Garden Festival, the folks who commissioned many of the works. Take it away, Marcelo.
Thank you so much, Indra. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to feel your presence. I can't see you all, but just welcoming you tonight. And the last year has been real tough on a lot of fronts, and it's been great for the festival to redouble our efforts to maintain our commitment to partnering with organizations like the Asian Art Museum and to supporting work and new work from artists like Ensemble McNawooj. And so we're real proud of that commitment. And and we're looking forward to seeing you all in the near future. It looks like we're going to be able to gather in some form in this next year, and so we're really looking forward to that. And I won't take up too much of your time, so I'll turn it over to Ensemble Nawooj.
My body on a search for somebody just to watch her who done dropped in from the right side of the poppy on the concrete. Now I'm Aki. Yeah, said man, it's got me living with intensive care. Get it out, see an infinite stretches the imagination beside me, the past behind. And with this severe arriving on the scene to be received with impeccable timing, like a shot of epinephrine stuck up into your thighs and have a fight or flight response. Partner, I'm Salam, so if you fly in tonight, we launch and be gone. Upon the re-side of this song, and I state the lines of which I base my odyssey on. Got a problem, my mind I got a monopoly on, and shh, be quiet, the prodigy's on. Yeah. Are y'all caught off guard? Cause I'm called classic. Oh my God, have I got passion? Yeah, like the passion of the Christ. A passion for my life. I'm damn crafty with a knife, and I'm finna cut up just to have it in a fight. With surgical precision, putting salmon in your pipes. Cause they talk about me and bone around me. Hating is washed up and soft is downy. It's time to crown me. The reins in reach, I aim to eat. Play for keeps and face the beast to take the streets until the Jake retreats. Hell's behind, yet the heavens favor me, making way out of the East Bay hastily, hatefully. But when Yemen makes us sweet, it's made to eat. We on the take from all 50 states to eat. Escabeche, shrimp, and Malaysian peace made to feast with waitress and maitre d'. Needless to say, they need to know they place capiche. Especially if they ain't paying me. It's the creme de la creme, may say la vie. I'm from the land of the oak, I wish a motherfucker would. I'm feeling great, feeling good. Dancing with the stars, Jupiter and Mars. That's how high I set the bar. I'm feeling great right now. I'm feeling great right now. I wish you would.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christopher Nicholas.
Joanne Kim.
And I am Sandman.
All right, so I'll be asking us a few questions so you all get a better take of what you saw and what you heard. So Joanne, can you tell us a little bit about what we just saw, Mozart on Joy, and can you tell us a little bit about your creative process?
Sure. So this is the first movement of the commissioned pieces suite called Fountainheads. And then this piece, I basically remember a bunch of pieces that I've heard and studied from Mozart, and use them to make a deconstruction, which is kind of connected to meta sampling, which is a way of sort of having a half compositional technique, which is like a theme and variation, and half of it would be process of hip hop, which is a sampling. So, and as for meta sampling, it's a rationale, as Indra said. It's an idea to sample or borrow foreign rationales, and by reframing them, you come up with a new system. And in what I did, it goes something like this. In the very beginning, I was trying to make hip hop music using only classical techniques and classical instruments. And if you do that, you don't actually end up with a hip hop piece, but something different. So that was the whole beginning of our sort of adventure to this kind of world of what are we doing and what is this?
Yeah. And that being said, we're going to move on to our next piece, Beethoven on Struggle.
I got no words about how we got a verse around the world, the same song, but now I got a verse while the streets holler. A corpse leaps out of her soul. Shit is me while my dreams gotten worse. Need to be where we need not. Keep dodging blurbs, thoughts of me shot, bleeding on the triage thirst. We die first. Faces of the murdered be on shirts. The quick and the dead that we peel off curbs. The streets need those knees knocking the meek, walking in need of heroes. A young chief has got one chambered in the heat that he told. Why every novice wanna play the boss when they ain't gone all in and ain't paid the cost of the fees? Hated that I made my peace. They feed to their belly full and still pray things. Say please, maybe I'll save you a seat at the table where I break bread, making a speech, saying peace to the lovers unable to please. Haters throwing shade on your name in the street. Hey, we be the light bearers. They trying to scare us like night terrors, hoping we might error like JD and American me. When they make it there, they want to live vicariously. Dog you like a terrier and carry the leash like police who dare to conquer peace. Bury the beast, where you can sleep with the fishes in the barrier reef. Wary are we who care deep, buried in grief. Beware of the evil. It's barely illegal for them to carry the heat. Dare to be lethal, barbarian ego. Scared of the people who made America great. Dare to be equal. Pete, though we need more folk to keep the focus. We won't see no mea culpa from the culprits. Power broker and xenophobes misleading the voters. Fear-mongering theologians speaking in the pulpit. Whoa, need to hold us close. We need to hold us close. Coast to coast, these boys, they want to get us to ghost. They never been gentlemen, don't get too intimate with their sentiment. Committed to being a bigoted idiot, thinking they're getting the benefit. It's like to be living in time, it's limited, fight is imminent, true. But you'll find it within, the bright and the infinite. Like to be given by you, they don't know what they do, don't know what is true. When they try to divide us, provide for the few. They don't know what they do, don't know what is true. When they try to divide us, provide for the few. they gon' lose. They gon' lose. But what you gon' do? But what you gon' do? Brought up in the bubble where up jumps the mother for lump sums. A chump changes on and fuck you. Taught not to crumble under another man's knuckles, but not how to stand when them boys wanna bump you. Running the land, wanting out while Uncle Sam wants you. My pops was a veteran and a functioning drunk too. Funny as a child, the conclusions that you come to. Try to gather your senses, find some shit to numb you. Thumb through life while the streets run red. Everything you have to say remains unsaid. Chummy with vampires at each other's necks, hung head, not living, just undead.
Okay, so that's the second movement.
Yeah. So, Joanne, so we just heard Mozart on Joy, Beethoven on Struggle. Our next one that's going to be coming up is called Bach on Transcendence. So, can you tell us why you chose these composers and what the theme is?
Yeah, so the name Fountainheads, it's like the origin, right? So these big three composers, so-called big three, they are basically the one that what we call common practice period, which is like early 17th century to 17th century to early 20th century. And then they kind of created this, you know, a lot of repertoires that we like now. Obviously the music has been, you know, composed after that. But the effect of Western music is basically in that era of what we call common practice period. So the, I mean, as I said, I chose all these pieces out of memory. So sometimes I'll look at these scores at the end. I mean, it was surprising how much I changed it. And yeah, so I don't know whether you've heard this, but you know, the first and second pieces are connected. Mm-hmm. So yeah. The string harmonic that ends with the Mozart, and then the Beethoven takes over, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the third movement would have something that you can recognize. If you actually can recognize, you can say, yeah, I did recognize. I will totally ignore you.
Okay, so let's move on to our next piece, Bach on Transcendence.
Yes.
phenomenal man. Man, phenomenally, I'll be the phenom. I speech for a nominal fee. Pay homage to me, whether or not I got the prestige. The East Oakland author who's all for the seeds. And talk of the streets, for talking on beats. I hope you touched I got enough pull to keep y'all in my reach. I call it the squeeze, got the juice, cop the release. I drop deep, been set it up for all my degrees. Phenomenal man, man phenomenally. Man phenomenally, yeah. I'm in line with this, Sandman, am I legit? Name brand conglomerate, name stays anonymous. All over the globe, I sail away on the continent. Always saying my ohms, I'm reclaiming my mind again. About to cross over from the lines of acknowledging. Bridging over waters in the fight with Leviathan. 5 men, hot-headed when using my hyacinths. Violence at the fair when advancing the sciences. Not for you, player, checking on your appliances. Trying to make sure that big brother is honest. Staying in the mind is scared and they're living. I'm in the fair flare and the fair with Blair witches. Moving air with prayer, cherishing clear vision of judgment. Every line's a fair sentence. Ain't no giving in. I made my peace with oblivion. How you feeling, friend? How you feeling, friend? Have you made your peace with oblivion? Ain't no giving in. How you feeling, friend? How you feeling, friend? Have you made your peace with oblivion? Ain't no giving in. Ain't no giving in. Ain't no giving in. Ain't no giving in. The fear of oblivion. Have you ever bothered to look around and count your blessings? Looked around, decided to live and dispense with all the stressing. Have you looked up and seen everything beautiful? Like my daughter. She went from in utero to writing computer code, and truth be told, I didn't even want no kids, but it's funny how you once gonna lie with an untold bliss.
Okay, wow, we're walking.
Being very dramatic.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what are we doing? We're filming that. Shout out to Matt Bowman, by the way.
Yeah, Matt Bowman and Tosco Rivola, Greylock Studios. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
They are filmmakers.
Before I ask you a question, I want to actually talk about the last 3 pieces, which is the Fountainhead Suite. And as you can notice, that there are these punctuation at the very end of these quiet sections, and they have this Greek word, ataraxia, apathia, and then eudaimonia, and they all correlate to pretty much like equanimity. And the reason I put that in there is that as I was writing, as we all have experienced, all kinds of things were happening, not just the pandemic. So in a way, the writing was a refuge for me last year, and I thought I would actually express a moment of sort of relaxation, inner virtue that way. And the last piece that's going to be coming up, has a connection with these concept. There's in Chinese writing, there's going to be a koan there, which is coming from Zen, and Stoics are very connected to Zen, and apathia is obviously a Stoic concept, and in the counterpart of it would be Epicureans. They have ataraxia, which are the same kind of things, as if just like Zen Buddhism and then Tantric Buddhism are sort of like a opposite end of the same kind of emancipation of soul, right? So my question to you, Chris, is that how was the recording? Was it easy? Was it like quick? Was it slow? Was it?
The recording was not easy. It took about a week or so. We took multiple days. We recorded the winds and I think we did the strings first or the winds first. Either way, they were all sectioned off. So we had winds, our amazing soprano, and Ed, our MC, come one day at separate times and record their chunks, and then we had our string players come record their chunk with the drummer sectioned off, and then we met separately to mix everything down, and so everything was recorded in real time. So that's why you see a performance footage more so than really like super streamlined music video, because this was all real time and there was really no punch-ins, no no real edits. This was as real as you can get due to the whole pandemic situation. So
you real time, you mean like one or two takes?
Right? Yes, so 1 or 2 takes. Like I said, there's really no punch-ins here. Sandman was really amazing. He did everything pretty much
2 hours.
Within 2 hours,
Shout out Sandman.
Just kept moving on. But so we don't run out of time. We'd like to move on to our next song, Who Would Be Born, and then we're also going to introduce Sandman to answer some questions as well.
Sandman, low in the cut. Every showdown, I'm showing them up. They not knowing enough to stop showing they bluff. They're throwing a fit. I'm holding my nuts. They talk falsehoods, but they say not true. I poke holes in the story, watch the plans fall through. Bye bye, salute. You the only one to blame for what you fall prey to. Yeah, y'all make do. But it ain't stopping demons from collecting. They do, and they won't take cash or pardon you till the millstone bed. Cheese all blue sad. Been had in the pits like your dad is Brad, and your fix ain't fixing that. Your ex-wife split with your cash, and women ain't hitting your back. And in a bit of madness, you tripping the traffic. Cameras get to clicking and flashing. Now your pics on the internet. Look at that, you're looking to Nash. You look at the caption, it says, look at this has been. So what are you famous for? Can't show your face, no place to go. Get medicated though. Shit faced and wasted slow. Don't know your friends from foes. Get shit faced and wasted slow. flow while I show them the flaws and they don't comprehend the good because it wasn't something they bought. Hey. So what are you famous for? Get shit faced and wasted slow. Don't know your friends from foe. Can't show your face, no place to go. So what are you famous for? Get shit faced and wasted slow. Don't know your friends from foe. Don't know your friends from foe. Can't show your face, no place to go. So what are you famous for? Get shit faced and wasted slow. Don't know your friends from foe. Can't show your face, no place to go. Well, what are you famous for? What are you famous for? Get shit faced and wasted slow. Can't show your face, no place to go. So what are you famous for? Get shit faced and wasted slow.
Ready? Ready for this?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Throw that thumbs up at the end.
Okay, so that's the
Ed, Sandman, can you tell us a little bit about the theme of that song that we just heard, Who Will Be Born?
The theme of that song. So what really began my writing or me thinking about what I was going to write to the song was a quote that Joanne gave me. And really, I have to apologize because really, I don't remember the first part of that quote, right? But it was, who would be born must first destroy a world. And what I took that to mean is that, to be yourself, to be true to yourself, you kind of have to deconstruct all these things that you've been taught about success, about how you have ability or what creativity, why you're creative. Because there was also a time where there was a point to, beginning with the group, the Attic, when it kind of fell apart, and I was like, well, maybe I just shouldn't do this, but then kind of coming back and kind of deconstructing, okay, like I may never have any sort of, get any sort of adoration or, acclaim for what I do, but it's something that's true for me. So it's kind of like I had to deconstruct something to even keep going on with my own creativity, and in writing and being an MC. And so what a lot of song is about is, I asked this question myself, like, what are you famous for? What do you want out of this expression that you have? Is it just for people to pay attention to you, which I think a lot of when I began, that was my attraction to it. I began performing when I was 18 years old in bars, where they had to put a wristband on my on me to like indicate like he can't drink, and a lot of my attraction to it was like, oh, look at all these people paying attention to me. And then there was a point where that just stopped, and then I had to kind of rediscover like, okay, this is something that's actually true to you, and what you do. So kind of abstracting yourself from all of these ideas that you had prior to really, actualize.
And going with that, we're going to go to our last piece for the evening called Everything Returns to One, and then we'll come back to Sandman.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, been meaning to ask and rather discuss what happens to us after we take on the task of having compassionate love. It matters for what? Does what it matter for actually happen to matter enough? For having to suffer the path of the lover and loving each other no matter the what, when, where, or the why. Many men would ever lie, try to drive you into despair beyond repair, paralyze you to clarify. Having one love is rare in lies, at least they say peace and grace, easiest way to paradise. Paradise, wherein lies their divide, but that's unverified. Why, maybe that's why everyone's scared to try, swearing by the terror so much they don't even care for life. I'm in despair, wondering just how it is they bear the cries, not caring to share the sky. I hope that we're in time to change the paradigm. We're prepared to prepare the perilous when they resign. Everything returns to one. Setting moon and rising sun. Everything returns to one. Setting moon and rising sun. The love of your mother, your brother, your sister, your partner, your papa, your lover, in order to care that you got for another. So often it's just unconditional love. Someone who's giving you something you want from, I guess, this connection is why you had uttered the words I love you, yet to discover that we're all connected with love that loves us. No, us first, the other. Hope that you discover. Thinking about the days you gon' go on the back. If you never get to come together on the bash, say everything turns to one. Setting moon and rising sun. Everything turns to one. Setting moon and rising sun.
Okay.
Okay, and so our last question, Sandman, can you tell us a little bit about your creative process with EMN? And this kind of dovetails into our Q&A.
Yeah, a couple of questions in Q&A.
Yeah.
So this creative process.
So Sandman, can you tell us?
Yeah, well, I mean, it generally begins with Joanne. He usually will have a conversation. He's like, "Hey, I want to write this piece, and this is the theme. This is what the piece is about." That's usually when my writing process kind of begins. And it usually begins with me just jotting lines and ideas, and then he gives me the actual music. And I say this all the time, and sorry, Joanne, but so I don't actually get to hear the live music a lot of times when I'm actually writing. What he'll send me is a really, really bad MIDI production of his writing. And mind you, when I say bad, I mean like the soprano that's on it sounds like this really hollow 8-bit flute, and so like I don't necessarily get the full breadth of the music, but I get an idea of it. And then that's when I actually start the writing, but the writing itself isn't actually finished until we perform it. Because when I actually hear the music, I do my best to become almost like an instrument alongside the music. So I do augment and change my writing up a little bit when I actually hear the music. And so this recording session where we did 3 pieces, it was my first time, or 3 commissioned pieces. It was my first time actually hearing the music. And so even there, live in the studio, I was doing some adjustment to, really feel like I was, working together with the instruments and the composition as a whole.
Thank you. And so as we're going into this Q&A, so one of the questions which Ed just answered, Sandman just answered, he was intrigued by Sandman's lyrics, and he wanted to know if he was given any direction or topic or subject. And also the process that we just spoke about, how Sandman builds his lyrics on top of the music. Another question that came in, this one, is, let's see, how do you decide which classical piece to incorporate in your work?
Well, that's very simple. Any work that became public domain art game. So that's it.
And there we have it.
Generally, they don't have any legal problems and representation. A lot of people are deceased. R.I.P. But it's all, oh, this is terrible. But yeah. I mean, I like classical music, just so you know. I don't hate classical music. I just don't agree with a lot of them now. That's all.
And looking forward to a live concert. So yes, we do have some live concerts scheduled, especially for this year. We are going to be playing at Reno Arts Town in July. And we're finalizing some things next year for Washington. We'll tell you those details as they get more and more solid. And let's see, going on, this is creative process. We already answered that one. Would love to see some hip hop ballet and the visuals. It seems they would be a perfect match. Any thought of that?
Yeah, well, certainly we're totally open to do different kind of collaboration. And the reason that we incorporate turf dancing is that simply turf dance actually was originated from here. And not only that, turf dance method sampled hip hop, because if you look at the movement, it's very, graceful, and it has a lot of, in some points, not only hip hop, there's contortion in it as well. So there are different aspects of dance and movement arts that is sampled there.
Okay. Next question. Do you work on several projects at once? And do some projects take longer than others? Do you ever have writer's block?
Well, I generally don't have writer's block because I think that I don't take myself too seriously. I just write. And I think it also came that, when I was training in my undergrad, I had a teacher that encouraged me to write without instruments. So I would just write on desk with pen and paper, and I wouldn't even use pencil because I wanted to really rely on the internal hearing. So, and the way it works, it's kind of like reading books. If you read books, you actually hear what you're reading, and you do the same thing with the notes, basically. So
cool. And then last question, Joanne, can you expand on your disagreement with classical music?
Oh, wow. Where to begin?
Where do we start?
Yeah,
in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I think that now what happened, especially 1960s, all this avant-garde, even before the Second Viennese School, of this idea of top-down sort of musicians that are enlightened, that's going to educate the mass of this new musical language. We must continuously sort of push the envelope by top down is obviously crazy and false idea. And the antithesis of that would be pop music, which essentially came out of Black music, that actually came from bottom up. And if you think about the gap of complexity between sort of Dixieland to bebop, that is just wide. And same thing is happening in hip hop. And we believe that we're part of that sort of quantum jump of concert music. Obviously, we're doing concert music, but so there's a healthy dose of hip hop here, not just represented by Sandman, but like we're all like kind of punk rock things.
Question from YouTube. How did you all meet up and decide to work together? That's going to be a long answer, but we can answer it very, very shortly. Started in 2010. Joanne and I were roommates before that in Berkeley of Music. In 2010, he asked me to move out here after I was finished with my master's to help him with the ensemble. I did, and we've been going ever since. MC Sandman joined us in 2013. And we've been featured on Wall Street Journal. We've worked with Amazon, worked with the United Nations, have a great relationship with NPR, and more. And question.
Well, let's have Sandman answer that question. Same question. How is it for you for your 8 years plus?
Oh yeah, I first. Started working with the ensemble while I was still with a group called The Attic. And so we're a group of 3 MCs, and Joanne was already working with one of the MCs, Do That, and Do That invited us to come on, but he called him a producer, and we were like, okay, well, we're going to come meet this producer, and you know what I'm saying? I had no idea and who this person was. And so we did this performance in Oakland, and Joanne was there, and it was a total kind of a culture shock to me, because Joanne came up to me. He was like kind of dressed in like this Zen monk garb and like, literally bowed to me. And I was like, really? This is who you were talking about, Joanne? But he invited us over for tea, and then we ended up doing a song, which was literally called, the song that we did with him was called First Song. And it was such an enriching experience that they offered for us to keep going, and so kept going. And slowly the other MCs dropped off, but I was kind of determined to keep going on with this because it was just so interesting to me, so different, and also challenging, and helped me grow as an artist. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say we are the only hip hop infused group that has time change, meter change, not just odd meter, but meter change within one song. And I believe that you're the only MC in the world that has that. So kudos, Sandman. Kudos to you.
We have a couple more questions. One more question is rolling in. How was it creating this album during a pandemic? Ooh.
I mean, one thing that I can add in how was this album created? Like, how was it when we were recording, is that a day before, a guy that was supposed to play like 5 hours,
Jesus Christ.
5 hours, in 5 hours, he canceled on us.
Yeah, I was like cooking dinner, and I had just got off the phone. I was like, okay. And it didn't really hit me. And then I just kind of took a deep breath, called
Yeah.
you on, and we're both like, all right, who do we know? Who don't we know? We contacted a few people, and within about like an hour or 2 hours, we had a substitute. And then I was able to eat my dinner and kind of not sleep.
Yeah, so I think it was like that, like a little bit of that happening throughout the recording process, and not only that, just the whole prep process. Obviously, it has been very challenging, but also we're incredibly grateful because a lot of people are suffering, not just in general, obviously, but performing arts is totally wiped out, and I felt it was almost a privilege. So I wanted to do a good job and do justice for Yoga Winter Gardens Festival and Asian Art Museum, who actually had us in. Like no one was there. Pretty much we were the only one that was filming them. And Matt Bowman and then Tosca Rivola did a wonderful job. And our musicians, they showed up, performed their heart out because they needed to play. And I think that this kind of necessity comes through in the product. And I hope you guys, whoever listens to this, feel better about the situation as we have recording and writing this album.
I'd like to also point out our amazing dancers, young Phil and Talise, that really worked with us through the process. We've been working with young Phil now for about 2 years now. Yeah.
And we're going to be working with him for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah.
So maybe all the people that we couldn't give individual shout outs, we will have credits rolling up.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for having us. Thank you again, Asian Art Museum, Yoga Winter Gardens Festival. You guys have been great.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Marcelo.
Yeah. Been amazing. Thank you.
Thank
What?
you.
Yeah.
Well, yes, there. I can't do a heart.
There we go. You did it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This is what the Koreans do. Like,
Oh,
Asians
that's
do
true.
this.
I have to say, I've seen the videos several times now, and they're just deep. And each time I see them, I fall more in love with them. Sandman's lyrics, your composition, that soprano, like she's
Annie
Smith.
Smith. What?
off the charts, amazing. And of course, Matt and Tosca's beautiful filmmaking. I'm in love with it all, and I'm just so grateful to have the opportunity. And thank you to Lulu Lucero and to Marcelo and your team for helping make this happen. You brought it to us.
Thank you, Indra, and thank you, Joanne and Christopher and Sandman. It's been this has been a really great evening and inspiring, and can't wait to do it in person.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, don't get famous before we can have you back, because we can't afford you once you're famous.
No, we're going to keep coming back. This is
Okay,
our...
don't forget your roots.
No, never.
Never.
Your roots.
Never. Yeah.
Please. Oh, well, thanks to everyone who joined us tonight on YouTube and through Zoom. Please keep showing up for the arts. As Joanne said, it's really critical that we support artists in our community. It's critical to their survival and to our spiritual survival. Thank you all so much. And we're going to play credits so you can see who played what instruments and filmmakers and special thanks. So we'll play those now. Thank you.
Thank you.